Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know that song, you know that sound, you know that voice, you know what it means. That means it's the weekend. And as always, whenever it's the weekend, that means it's time for the James Freel Show. I'm your host, James Freel. And I gotta tell you right away, right off the bat, it feels good to be back in front of a microphone and not holding a bootleg record. Although it does really put me in a different mindset. I do think pacing around the room for a while did give the show a little bit of a different dynamic, but getting to hear a higher quality microphone, although albeit not as great. In fact, this one can't even record the same level of frequency. I'm not about to sit here and just start talking about what little knowledge I have about recording equipment and microphones. But anyway, I am very happy to have you with me, and I really do think I have a great show planned for you right now. I am 1-0-1. The season started when, and if this is your first time listening, I rate myself based on how well I was doing in the podcast episodes, and if I do well, I get a win. Last week's I thought was decent, and I gave myself a tie, so I'm 1-0-1, and I think without jinxing myself, I think I can confidently say that I think this episode's going to be a win. I think by the end of this show, it's going to be 2-0-1. So, as always, before I get into the rambling, and boy, do I have a rambling section for you. Also, before I start, I want to say this is the Christmas episode. This is the last episode before Christmas. Next week, Christmas will be over, and I guess it'll be more of a reflective episode. But hopefully, future James isn't too lazy, and I put some sort of Christmas banner on. I know I was too lazy to put anything on for Thanksgiving, which was a little disappointing because I got on the one for Halloween, but we will see. We will see what time. All right. But first, before I rudely interrupted myself, let's go into news for the uninformed. Top news. So, hold on. I let's see. So the top news story is Trump agreed to exiting Syria. All right, let's see if this works. I just got back. I got this error on Pro Tools, and hopefully it stays working again because I really don't want to have to keep restarting over and over. But I updated anyway. So Trump, he's all about exiting Syria, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess if I recall, he did say that. I remember during campaigning or something, he said we didn't want to be the world's police or something like that. I don't know. I try to keep it. I try to keep it not too political here. I know I've said that a million times. Wow, off to a great start here, James. You sure about that 2-0-1? I'm gonna do the rest of it from my phone because last time I started it, that's what caused the crash, and I don't want to trigger it. John Harbaugh to remain Baltimore Ravens coach next season. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's doing a horrible job. He's in the same division as my Cincinnati Bengals. There's your sports decision for the year. Secretary of Defense also resigned. Mad Dog, or Mattis, General Mattis, or something. Yeah, and always the hardest one to find is top pop culture news today. Let's see what's going on. Can I think of anything that happened this week? Netflix announced that they're going to start running ads when you pause their stuff. I wonder if that's still going on or if the backlash from it will keep it from happening. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We will see. I better not lose all of this because I just saw that there's a version conflict with all of this. So if I get any sort of error, I'm going to make sure to save this and export it. And I can finish the rest on the bootleg. So on to the rambling section. This week I found a new YouTube channel that I've really been enjoying. It's called Walter's World. and there's this guy, and he just travels all over the place. And the first video I found was like, I came across it because he said like it was like the don'ts of America, and I'm like, I'd like to know the don'ts of America to people who travel here, and all of it was really really accurate. And it's just things about my own culture that I don't really always understand or realize, that I think are just second nature. But it turns out that you know, other cultures find it weird that we ID a lot, even if you're clearly over age, or that you tip when you come here. Yeah, the food might seem cheaper, but you gotta tip for that. You don't tip in McDonald's, or you don't tip when you go to a fast food restaurant, but you know, you tip here. It's kind of funny how you don't tip in other countries. That's another hot button issue. I'm not touching that. Um, so this past week, I had a phone interview for a position that would be really, really exciting. And the person was a little late calling me, and I had to wind up finding a storage room to conduct the phone interview in, because it had to be a room where I knew I got good reception, and it had to be somewhere secluded where it wasn't noisy, because I didn't want any background noise to interfere with the interview. Yeah, if I'm able to land this position, that would be absolutely amazing. It's the kind of position that I would be willing to move away for. But the great thing is, it's right here in my hometown, and that would truly just be amazing. I can keep on saying it. It honestly made me feel a little bit better that the person calling me was late with the phone call, because had I been on time, it would have given off the illusion that these people don't mess around, and I better not mess around if I want any hope of securing this position. So the fact that they were a little late, it gave me time to exhale and be like, relax, the person interviewing you, it's just going to be an interview. That's all it is. And it essentially was what I thought it was going to be. It was a weed out interview. It was just to make sure that you were serious. Because the phone call I got from the interviewer is from Providence, Rhode Island. And hold on, I'm going to pause to take a sip. But I was pretty impressed by the amount of knowledge that they had about the position. So maybe they were more involved with it than I had originally thought. Who knows? Who knows? But I was incredibly nervous. The interview directly preceded a office potluck that we had, and I had a terrific time at that. I got to sit down with some people, and a lot of people, new co-ops, and I'm about done there. I just finished up. Next week's a short week because this is my Christmas break. See, a year ago today, I had a 3-week break where I had to do absolutely nothing. And I love thinking back to where I was then, and I just wish I could go back there and tell you, Ben, bet it all on the Eagles. The Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. And you would have thought you were crazy, but it's like, no, it's going to happen, I assure you. I'm still upset. Because I like Tom Brady, you know, it is what it is. But so I have, next week I work the 26th, 27th, 28th, then a weekend, then after that, there's the 31st, and then I have New Year's Day off, and then the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, then I'm done. And we'll just have to see how it goes. We'll just have to see. So far, the software is still running well. So that's about all I have to say about that interview, and I want to move on to another topic. So today I got a text message from someone who I actually did have on this show, but it was before I had this equipment. And so I never put together the podcast because it sounded like garbage, and also it was kind of cringy. I'm still living here with other people who are related to me, if you catch my drift. That won't be less than a year. That's going to change. I'm hoping before. It is kind of sad, but, life's got to be lived forward, but it will be analyzed backwards. So that guy texted me and said, "You play blues, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah. What do you mean by like on an instrument?" And he said, "Yeah." And so I said, "Yeah, I play that." And he told me that, yeah, I'm currently working on a film I got casted in, and the director is doing a promo to hopefully get started on funding, and he wanted a blues score to the video. So I'm reaching out to people musically talented that I know. Yeah, you get to hear all the backspace. And so I said, how long would the score need to be? And he said, I don't know. He just made a post. And I told him I know some people, so if it's okay with you, I can give him your Facebook info and have him contact you. And I responded with this: It sounds like a fun project. I wouldn't mind talking to him. Just please make him aware before he contacts me that I am very much an amateur and not to expect professional level material. If he just needs 5 to 10 minutes worth of blues background music, I can do that. But beyond that, I would probably look for someone more experienced. He said, sure, I'll let him know. He said it would be about maybe 2 minutes tops. He's sending you a Facebook request. So I got the request, and yeah, I know you're also interested to hear what I have to say about that. Oh, hello. Oh, I am thinking of sending Mike to a pan at the disco concert, but I am anticipating being able to go with him. Is there any chance you would be interested? Able. Holy crap, someone just, geez. I'm thinking of sending Mike to Panic at the Disco concert Wednesday, January 30th in Cleveland. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give a no to that one. As much as I would love to, it sounds like a lot of fun. Sorry, that was a totally spontaneous thing. I'm gonna hit pause really quick so I can respond to that. Just a second. All right, I'm back, and if this thing gives me that error one more time, I'm lucky that it saved it because it gave that error. I'm not gonna pause this show one more time until the end of it. So basically, yeah, he that whole spontaneous thing happened. I responded, and I messaged the guy. He added me on Facebook, and I told him, "Hey, I hear you need some blues music." He sends me a video, and he says, "I need something like this, but original, a minute and a half or so, or long or so, no vocals." And I told him I can put something together similar. It was basically just the typical dun 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 dun. And I just let him know, yeah, I can put something together like that. Give me a few days and I'll have a few MP3s, yeah, for you. You can tell I'm really good at grammar. I'm also doing this. I got a beer right here, beer and a shot here. So that might be why I'm slurring, but I still think I got a good show for you, despite that. Even though normally that does me wrong. And look at me, I'm jumping all over the place with conversation. I said if you want to use them, they're all yours, but I'm far from professional. So if they don't work, I won't be offended. And he responded with, none of us are professionals. Give it a whirl. I'll be honest with you. And then he said, I appreciate it. Maybe this will make you famous. Smiley face. So that gave me sort of a relief because at first when I thought, yeah, that sounds like fun, I had a moment of, oh, geez, what did I just commit to? Because my history with involving myself with artistic projects has not always gone well because I find out some people are really, really into something. But I'm gonna put some effort into this because I would love for this to just it'd be cool to have your name on something. So I will give it a try, and I mean it. I mean I might be a little bit bummed out if he doesn't use it, but I won't be offended because I know it's not gonna sound great. But once I finish this, I might start experimenting with it. But I really want to get back to playing some Red Dead Redemption 2 because that game has been fun. Just letting you know that. Yeah. So right now I'm a coworker of mine. He recommended that I give Crown Royal a try, and man, that's like Jack Daniels but better. That is some smooth and tasty stuff. I'm a big fan, and I don't want to become that kind of whiskey drinker who only values smoothness and nothing else, but it's just impressive when you can get a whiskey flavor and it's still extremely smooth. And I'll be honest, when I watch those YouTube channels of people reviewing whiskey and they smell it and they're like, all right, I'm getting some hints of vanilla. I'm getting an oaky finish with it. And I'm just like, I have no clue what you're saying. Do you have any idea how dumb I am? A few people at work were telling me I reminded them of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. And I don't watch that show. I'm sure I would probably find it very, very amusing if I gave it a shot. But, you can't unbecome a fan of that show. So I don't want to deal with it. I'm just, I'm avoiding it. I'm sure I'd like it, but there are a ton of shows out there that I would probably like. And maybe I am trying to be like a hipster who doesn't like everything that a lot of people like. Who knows? I don't get it when people do shots of high quality liquor because I thought the point of doing a shot was so that you didn't have to taste it, so that you could just you know, get it over with. And I don't like that because I want to enjoy what it is I'm drinking. I mean, if it's high quality, Patron. I'm not a big tequila person, mostly because you have to spend a lot to get good tequila. But Patron, that stuff is delicious. And my coworker today was telling me that there's this Mexican restaurant where if it's your birthday, they'll give you a free shot of Patron. And I'd be like, all right, can I get a cup of ice? Can I pour it in there and sip it? Because I really like Patron. I think it's delicious. Anyway. So here is the big story I think the show's gone all right despite all the crashes that have happened, and I hope that error doesn't happen again. I updated the software, so I think that should solve it. I updated the software of my computer and all that. But anyway, here's the story. So I'm at work today. All right. And at work, I work in the basement. My office area is in the basement, and in the basement there are two restrooms. And each of these restrooms, there are restroom doors, and it's basically a solitary closet. When you walk into the door, you're in the restroom. There's no stall. It's like a closet, and there's a bathroom in there. Only one person can go in, and once you're in, you're in. It'd be like if you went into a stall door and there's a sink and a bathroom right there. And I have been working here for close to a year now. And when someone knocks, I do not respond. Why, you may ask? Because there is a lock on the door. And when you lock the door, if someone knocks, it normally follows by trying to open it. And so what I do, I'm starting to laugh at the comical nature of this. I am very, very big on locking the door. I check 2-3 times most of the time to make sure that I locked it. And today was no different. I went to use the restroom, and I locked the door. All right, and so, typically because it's in the basement and so many people work there, you can expect 2 to 3 knocks or attempts at opening the door. And this was no different. I heard one knock and someone attempted to open it, and nothing happened because they realized that the door was locked and they moved on. So this was the third knock on the door, and I will grant that this was a much louder knock than normal. It was a very loud knock. I can't tell this with a straight face because in retrospect it was a very hysterical situation. All right, James, just tell the rest of the story. So I hear the extremely loud knock. And yeah, it unsettles me a little bit. The worst thing is when someone violently tries to open the door and shakes it really hard, and it gives me paralyzing anxiety. Because it's like, and I just want to yell back, it's locked. Do the math. You can't, if this door is locked, then that means that someone's in here. So anyway, like I said, I hear this extremely loud. Normally a knock is this loud. It's like that. Then they try to open it, and clearly it's locked, so they can't get in. This knock was more like, all right, you're not gonna get the knock because I just knocked it and it bumped off the thing again. So I'd like to think that that caused it, but that's the third time that that error has happened, and I'm just trying to finish this show now, and I'll figure out the issue I have with it later. But the knock was extremely loud. It was very, very aggressive. All right. And so I think nothing of it, just like normal. I'm like, the person will realize that the door is locked, and they will then move on to the next one. Well, what I did not know, and what this person did not do, I did not know that that extremely aggressive knock was coming from a janitor. And this janitor did not identify themselves. So next thing I know, I hear a turn of a key, and the door just comes open. And all of a sudden I hear it's this like woman, she's African American, and she looks relatively old, and I've seen her before, so that must mean she's like 80, because I hear African Americans do not age. Like, if they look old, they always look younger than they are. But anyway, that's irrelevant. And they just do, good lord. And then the door closes. She did not lock it back. And I hear her yell, you gotta respond to those knocks. And what I hated so much about the situation was that I felt like I was being reprimanded. Here's the thing. If you are a janitor and you are about to use a key to unlock a door, I feel like you need to announce yourself. I really do. Because, let me go through the thought process. This is a single person stall, bathroom. If you're gonna knock on the door and it's locked, that I think there's like a 99% chance that someone is in there, okay? And here, originally I thought that with these restrooms you couldn't lock them and then close them. I tested the theory and it's not true. If you were to open the door, hit the lock switch, and then let it close, it would then be locked, okay? But you would have to go out of your way to do that. There is no way to accidentally lock the door. Like I said, you'd have to open the door on your way out, hit the lock switch, and then leave. So, to me, taking the key and unlocking the door, that is the nuclear option. That is, that is overriding everything. That's like, I have your key, I have yours. I feel like you knocked hard, yeah, and I didn't respond. If you're going to go to the key, what do you think's more plausible? That someone's in there and assumes that you're going to realize that because it's locked, it's occupied? Or do you think, oh yeah, some guy left? You should at least announce yourself, okay? That's all I'm saying. You should have said, janitor, I'm coming in, and then given them a chance. They didn't even say that. They just knocked and then went straight for the key. And then I was extremely embarrassed by it. And I went back to the office and told everyone. And, I've got a sense of humor about it. The first person I told, I was ranting about it. I was like, I just needed someone to agree with me. But the funnier part is then later that evening, okay, not that evening, that afternoon, this woman, she's, like I said, she's a janitor. She comes into our department and walks by, and I make eye contact, and I turn around, and I am like, I look over to my coworker, the one who recommended Crown Royal to me, and I say, that's the person, because I had told him. Well, the funnier part is the first person that I told about it, I ranted, and then later I explained, like, I have a sense of humor about it. It was a really funny situation. Because it is, I'm laughing about it now. You heard me. I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't tell the story without laughing. But, So I tell him, and then I'm telling my another coworker, and he's like, "What? What happened?" He's like, "Someone walked in on him taking a dump." And he's like, "What? You didn't lock the door?" And here's the thing: I don't care if this story spreads about me, and I've come to realize that because I'm a temporary co-op, this is my legacy at this hospital. I'm gonna be known as the guy. Oh, sorry for the late reply. We have no. Okay, I'll get back to that guy. Um, so I just want it to be made clear that I locked the door, and the janitor took the nuclear option of taking a key. Okay. Um, that's the thing, but it really was comical, and everyone was making fun of me, and I turned red as the jacket I had on. But it was all in good fun. They weren't bullying me or anything. It was. But the thing is, later that day, I look over to the guy. I'm like, dude, that's the janitor. She came in to change and I grabbed my jacket and I said, I'm out of here. And I'm like, text me when she's gone because I just wanted to avoid the awkward situation. And as I'm walking out the door, the first guy that I ran into saw me with my jacket and he's like, "You out of here?" And I'm like, "No, not exactly." And I text the dude. I go to the same restroom, and it's like 5 minutes past. I'm like, "Is she gone?" It normally doesn't take too long to change all the restroom trash cans. And I get a text back about 30, 40 seconds later that she just left. And as I'm walking back to the office, I pass her in the hallway, of course. And I come back, and there's 4 or 5 guys all laughing. And the guy, I'm like, how did you know that that's why I left? Like, I put two and two together, saw the EVS person come in, saw that you ran out the door. The whole situation is really comical. I'm gonna end this by summarizing this Christmas. So this Christmas is summarized by some Crown Royal. That's what I've had for. Uh, it's, it's still recording. Keep working. You can close it and download the cover. Keep working. All right, I just had another error, but I think it's still moving along. I tried Crown Royal for the first time. I worked through it at Children's Hospital. The potluck was great. I sat with Abby, James Page, Sean, and that new co-op. Um, as I get older, the more lonely holidays become. But I'm gonna miss working where I'm working at. It's gonna be it's been an incredible experience, and I've been a sentimental person forever. Yeah, I think children this hot this hosp this place that I'm working at is really going to define this Christmas because I'm ending there, and it's it's like a family member, and you have mixed emotions about them. Sometimes they drive you crazy, but at this place I worked, it's all minimal. It's all on the individual basis. You have your rough patches, you have your high patches, you have your good places. It is what it is, and I'm going to miss going in there, clocking in, sitting down. I mean, I don't think I hate to say it, but I think get all things considered, this might be the best job I ever will have. Because the stress was low, the learning was high, I met some amazing people, and you can't put a price on that. And I'm going to get emotional talking about this, but the thing is working here, before working here, I was pretty convinced that I had always peaked in high school because I'm always going back and looking at those parts. But I'm pretty confident that the memories that I've made at this workplace will be right up there with it. And on that, I'm going to end the show. Hopefully I don't lose this because that was a great ending. I'm 2-0-1. I'm calling it now. Have a great Christmas, everyone. Take care. See you next week.